The UConn women's basketball team did something that no other team in history has ever done. They've won 100 consecutive games. That spans back to 2014. It's a huge deal. It's worth celebrating. It's worth a huge round of applause. But we're going to look at the bigger picture today. And what I want to know is, does this dominance on the court in women's basketball, does this hurt or help the progression of women's sports in general? And Gemma, I want to start with you.
Well, I thought about this question a couple of ways, right? Which is that you really want to celebrate a team that is this dominant. It's really exciting. You want to be able to say, or I want to be able to say, look at all these amazing women and the work that they're doing. But then I thought, if there was a team who just won this consistently all the time, if I just took away the word women from the word, from women's sports, would this be good for sports? No one wants to see a team win all the time, always with no competition. It's always more fun to see someone with a strong rival. And I think and I was like, I don't really necessarily want to say this is specific to women's sports, et cetera. So I love this team. I think it's always exciting to watch them be so good, but I'm ready for them to have an actual rival that would, put up a fight,
Yeah, you always want someone to have more competition. So I agree with that totally. I do think that it's good for the sport now because with such a high achievement, you're going to have people want to watch them lose, obviously.
Right.
So we're going to be watching the giant, celebrating the giant, but then cheering for them to fall, which is going to be great, which is going to bring more people to watch the sport, which is going to help recruiting. I mean, women's college basketball is a huge, huge women's sport, obviously. But I think this will get more people to get serious, more schools to get serious about women's recruiting, women's coaches, things of that nature, to create a rival.
I think that it hurts and it helps, but I want to trash the fact that it hurts at all, because I think a lot of times, young girls in general, they're not necessarily seeing women doing things like this, right? And so they don't know they can do it. They don't think they can do it. And so to see a team rise up and have this monopoly over women's basketball, women's college basketball, is great for the younger generations. And it's also, I think, it probably sets the bar for the other schools, right? Because they see this team and they're like, we have to beat this team. This team has to come down. So it kind of motivates. But in the same token, when the same team is winning all the time, and let's take out women, I would say this for any team in sports in general, it gets old, it gets boring. I obviously like to watch Kentucky and Duke and Michigan State and Michigan, blah, 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 all those schools. But at the same time, I want to see that underdog come rise up, and kind of make a name for themselves and start to become consistent and be a bigger name in the game.
Yeah, I really like what you said about trashing the idea that winning would in any way harm interest in women's sports. That's actually great, and winning is the fact that they're doing this is amazing, and I think that's a really important point that other young girls can see this and be aspirational.